Fwrd Axis News, Future and Balance.
Welcome to Fwrd Axis Live, a Fwrd Axis news production, bringing you the latest stories in the worlds of news, sports, politics, and entertainment. Fwrd Axis News, Future and Balance.
Welcome to Fwrd Axis Live. I'm your host, Stephen Michael, the Chief Political Correspondent for Fwrd Axis News. And today we are going to be here talking about Big Brother. It is something that we've wanted to do here for a while, start this podcast up, have different podcasts going around. And I am joined by Mr. Ty Jäger. Ty, how are you?
It's good. It's at the end of the weekend, but we got our Big Brother fix in, and I was actually really surprised by this episode.
Yeah, man, we got our Big Brother fix in. And before we get into all this, we're going to just really quickly run down what this podcast is going to be about. We're going to be here Sundays and Thursdays after every episode to recap it, to talk about what went on, or maybe what you didn't see whenever they kind of edited some stuff out. We're going to get to that as well. And we're going to get to all that. But real quickly, Ty, you are the entertainment writer for Fwrd Axis News, and you are a massive Big Brother fan. So before we get into this, I want to know, how did you become a Big Brother fan?
My mom is the reason I watch Big Brother. She was watching it since I could remember. So she was always watching it, and I just got hooked as a kid, and I just been on the train ever since. And since becoming an adult, it becomes much more entertaining in many different ways.
When did you start watching it? What season did you start watching?
I think the one I can remember the earliest is, I think, Big Brother 12 specifically with Rachel Riley. So that was like the season I remember vividly, like the first one I can remember watching.
Yes, Floaters Grab a Life Vest, one of my favorite ones. One of my favorite ones, yes. I also started watching Big Brother and still do watch Big Brother to this day because of my mom as well. She is a massive Big Brother fan. I watch, and even though I don't live with her anymore, we still watch it. We call each other after the episode. We update each other what's going on. So we're both huge fans of the show. And so I've been watching since season 1, all the way back in 2000. I remember I was 10 years old when it first started, 10 or 11, one of the two, somewhere in there. And I'm aging myself here. You can kind of figure out now how old I am. But I mean, I've been watching it since then. And, it's evolved from, the social experiment format that was season 1 all the way into this game that is now being played in 22 years later and 24 seasons later, 26 if you count the celebrity editions, or 25 if you count celebrity editions and Over the Top. So it's been a while. It's been a long, long time. And because of that, I want to talk about real quick, before we get to the episode, before everything else we have to talk about, the state of Big Brother overall. You see how, as I mentioned at the top, I am the chief political reporter for Fwrd Axis News, covering, President Biden, things like that. But when I don't do that, I'm a huge reality show fan covering Big Brother, America's Got Talent, and things like that. And the state of Big Brother as a whole, I will say, I kind of miss the older years of the show. My favorite season of all, and I don't know if you've seen this one. Have you seen season 10, the original Dan Giesling season?
No, so I've not seen it, but I've watched enough of like the because there's a lot of YouTube content now of recapping like different seasons, best moments, stuff like that. So I've been educating myself recently with a lot of that.
Yeah, I would recommend you go to Paramount Plus when this season is over and binge that Big Brother 10. It is the best season I think of all 24 seasons of Big Brother, including this one, even though this one's not done yet. It is, I think, the best season they've ever had. You had, Dan's first funeral, I should say. His first, his alliance with Memphis from day 2, and they kept it a secret all the way to the end, which is absolutely incredible. You had Jerry, the oldest housemate to ever, or house guest to ever play in the game, completely turning on Dan, calling him Judas, and wanting him out of the game. The best part of this was whenever you had Dan, or I'll spoil a little bit, Jerry became the first HOH, not knowing what Big Brother was. And he told the house, anytime you guys want to talk, just make this signal. And I'm thinking, dude, no. So yeah, you need to see that season. I recommend it. But I will say that this season has really gone You know, the more recent seasons have kind of gone downhill from what it used to be. Evil Dick's first season, season 8, there was an HOH competition that lasted, and I'm not even joking, I think 4 or 5 hours in the rain, in the cold, wind, and it was just incredible to watch. We've gotten away from that. I mean, and I kind of miss what the show used to be. It used to be about, you know, obviously you build relationships, you build storylines, you build and things like that, but you try to win the game. But now you have, in the more recent seasons, you have people coming on here for just social media fame, Instagram followers, things like that. And that is kind of the reason why I've turned more to the international Big Brothers, Big Brother Canada. I think of the American format, Big Brother Canada is superior to Big Brother US. The house is 10 times better. It's a freaking warehouse, for God's sakes. It is a 2-story warehouse. I recommend, if you ever watch Big Brother Canada, binge watch season 5 of that season. Is the best season of Big Brother Canada, and I'm trying to get you hooked on that.
At some point.
Yeah, and I also recommend Big Brother Australia. That has just been renewed for a 15th season in Australia as of last week. And Big Brother UK, which is coming back in 2023. So there's a lot of Big Brother coming next year. We're going to be here to recap it all for you guys. But, I mean, this state of Big Brother overall, Ty, I think is really changed from what it was to now. I think the people that are in it are more to get on TV, to try to get on other shows, to kind of expand their social media career and things like that. You see a lot of Big Brother people now on The Challenge. So The Challenge USA, which airs right after Big Brother on Wednesdays, you see Kylan from last season. You see Alyssa from last season. You saw Xavier, Tiffany, basically the whole cookout from last season, apart from Derek F, is on The Challenge this season. So you're seeing a lot of people integrating into shows. And I think that's not really what Big Brother used to be. It used to be about winning a game, forming relationships, and it's just, we're at the bottom of the barrel of what the show is now. And I'm sad for it because it's a show I love. And it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon, because if Love Island can get 1 million viewers and still be renewed for 3 years, Big Brother's safe for a couple of years. But that's what I think. I think the show needs a hard reset. Host Julie Chen Moonves had said she would like to see an all-winners season at some point before the show eventually goes away. Just bring back some of the best winners ever and raise the prize to $1 million to see who the best winner of Big Brother is. But yeah, that's where I think the show is right now. What are your thoughts on it?
I grew up with the teen seasons of Big Brother 14 is my favorite season, and it's funny that you were referring to Big Brother. When was Dan's original season again? 10. It's it was funny that you mentioned that season, because I love season 14 where you do get Dan's funeral. You have intense gameplay and intense arguments, fights, and all that between Frank, Ian, and all that. That's the stuff. That's what Big Brother is to me, and that's the stuff that you really like, and you kind of got that in Big Brother 20 with Tyler. Was it Big Brother 19 with Vanessa and everything? You have you have players that go in and that have good gameplay, and I think this season you have some people that are legitimately playing the game. But I do agree with you that there are some people on there for some social media clout, and it's kind of you can figure out who that is. It's including one that's kind of been using a scooter the whole show. But no, but fortunately, at least this season you have a lot more gameplay, and it's a lot more variant. At least these past few weeks, where you have people being backdoored, having blind sides. Now you might start coasting for the next few weeks, depending on how the leftovers do and everything like that. So this season, I feel a bit much better in terms of how the gameplay is happening, and that you are actually having gameplay compared to other previous seasons where it was just a bully fest, social media clout, not really true gamemanship happening.
Yeah, I agree, because as I said, you see a lot of just people wanting it for social media or wanting a romance or whatever. I'm thinking there's a certain couple on this season, or the only couple on this season. I'm thinking, you went on the wrong show. I mean, Love Island's on Peacock. You can go to the Villa for a couple weeks and just go for it there. But I mean, you came on the wrong show. We're going to touch on all of that because we had a little showman's scene that I think didn't really need it to be shown tonight, but we can get to all of that. We're going to touch on all that, like I said. But first, we have to touch on what happened over the weekend. Spoiler alert, or not really a spoiler alert because it aired on the episode tonight. As we saw, Michael is HOH. We're going to touch on all of that in the competition, everything just later on. But there is a situation that went on this weekend regarding Kyle. And Ty, I know you know what this is about. The fans who are casuals may not know what this is about, so I'm just going to touch on that real quick. Over the weekend, Kyle approached Michael in the HOH room, and when he approached Michael in the HOH room, he had talked about nominations. This is before nominations, so he talked about nominations, what was going on, and he wanted to work. Remember, Kyle is part of the leftovers, but he wanted to break away from the leftovers and join Michael, Brittany, Turner, and Alyssa. And I don't think I need to really tell you guys how that looks. And he wanted to target Monty, Joseph, Terrence, Jasmine, and Indy. And it sounds, well, let me just say, he says he cannot beat Monty or Taylor or Joseph. So he rather they would go sooner rather than later. And that's perfectly a fair argument. But what angered fans over the weekend is he kind of grouped the people of color, housemates, in one group, saying they were all working together and resembled the cookout from last season. So I'm going to read you the exact word for word what Kyle said. He said, "I do not mind if Daniel goes. He has not been someone that I've trusted in this game. But that possibility of those 6 with that background, I mean, look, it looks very similar to the cookout with a very diverse group of people with their background. They've all expressed why they're in this game. Joseph, he has more Middle Eastern representation in TV. Indy, there's never been a Brazilian winner or a Brazilian contestant. Everybody has those strong whys. They all concede. I look at our alliance, and it's like it was great because it was based out of a necessity, and our backs were against the wall, and that's what brought us together. Take away that necessity or fear of a bigger alliance, I don't know, but that's my biggest fear right now." So Kyle wanted to form an alliance to target. He wanted to form an alliance with Alyssa, Turner, Brittany, and Michael, which would basically mean an all-white alliance. And we saw, first of all, we wrote the story up on FwrdAxis.com. That story is now number 3 trending story on Google right now. So, I mean, that tells you how much of a topic this is. That's all you need to know. Over the past now 48 hours, even as we're recording this, Ty, you have Kyle trending on Twitter, KKK Kyle trending on Twitter, the Cookout trending on Twitter, and Monty and Joseph trending on Twitter. So, as you can imagine, the fans have had a lot to say about this. This was done before nominations. I need to stress that. This was done before nominations, before Michael made his nominations. This was not shown in the episode tonight. So I need to know, what are your thoughts on what happened over the weekend?
All right, so let's first off state, there's 2 things I think to this. First, the roots of this seem to come from the gameplay aspects, as you mentioned earlier. Like, he's saying that Joseph is obviously much more fit than he is in terms of competition and stuff like that. And then you have really good social games as well as physical games between Taylor and Monty. It's like, that is game talk. Now where it goes wrong is where he brings up the rest, which is, I think, pretty much what everyone's focusing on. For all we know, he probably never meant to put it in that light. Now, but we're not in his head. They're also in the household where they're being filmed 24/7, and you should probably watch how you word things a bit better when you're in that situation. Like, again, I can get it. It's come from the game aspect, but it just came out in a very wrong way with how he worded it, how he talked about it in that aspect. Again, I don't think there was any maliciousness behind it or anything like that. It was more game based, but it is a yikes. It is a yikes.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. It is game based, and like I said, if he wants to say he cannot beat Taylor or Monty or Joseph, that's fair because they're playing a game right now. But for him to kind of basically form an all-white alliance, I mean, it's just the facts. He wanted to work with those people that I mentioned, and unfortunately, those people are Caucasian people. They're all white people. The people he wants out would be minorities. I'm not saying, oh, yes, Kyle is a racist. Oh, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the way it looks, it does not look good.
It's a very bad look. It's a very bad look.
Yeah, and the way that, I even wrote this in the article, 3 of the 4 people that have gone home have been people of color. Paloma, even though she didn't technically get evicted, she left or got thrown out or still unsure exactly.
Self-evict is what she was saying, at least.
Well, Well, that's what the show says. I'll touch on that in a second. So we got Paloma, Nicole, and Amira. 3 of the 4 have been people of color. In season 20, or Big Brother, where it was Jackson and in that group, the first 5 people were people of color. So there's this trend going that people of color are being targeted early on. That's why the Cookout formed what they formed last season, because they wanted to represent their culture and kind of make history, and they did, as Xavier was the first ever Black winner of Big Brother regular season edition. And it just does not look good, considering the climate that we're in, the political climate that we're in right now, things that are going on in the world. It doesn't look good when you're on our show that gets millions of viewers each week, 3 to 4 million viewers a week, more viewers when you count in streaming, when you look online. It's just not a good look. And I'm hoping that this could lead to something being shown online or on TV, maybe on Wednesday or Thursday, to kind of show, depending on what happens tomorrow with the veto ceremony. There will be spoilers in this podcast, guys, so be warned. We might touch on things. Yeah, there will be spoilers. So we're going to get to all that, but that's where we think this is going. Again, if you want to check out the article, go to FwrdAxis.com right now. Check out the article. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think, because right now, this is the #1 story of Big Brother right now. Bigger than Muffin Gate, bigger than anything else going on.
Unfortunate that Muffin Gate is getting swept under the rug. How dare they?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like you said, it's the climate for this to happen in. Not the best. It's not the best. Again, I don't think there's malicious intent behind it, but it is sketchy.
It is, and I mean, that is something to watch for. We're going to keep our eye on it here as well. I know you will be as well, and so will I. But yeah, let's dive into this episode, shall we? So this episode, we got the recap, and it started off with Nicole's eviction. After Nicole's eviction, Daniel's obviously really upset. His best friend in the house is gone. Or what I tweeted out earlier, he's probably more upset. He feels like an idiot for not using the veto on his best friend when he had every opportunity to do so, and it resulted in her eviction. The second week in a row that he's been blindsided. First with Amira's eviction, now this. And he kind of let Monty have it in front of the whole house. I think it was on purpose. I mean, calling him out like that, saying, "Oh, you're going to win. Michael's going to win. Both of you will be top 2," painting them as the targets over him, knowing he is all by himself. What did you think of what Daniel did there?
It was certainly emotional in terms of how he responded. You saw that at the end of last week's live episode, where he's upset. He's visibly upset that he was aware of what was going to happen going into eviction night, that he messed up. The dude played himself. Monty told him what to do, and he played himself. And like, Monty was actually trying to help him out on this end, but it's like it comes down to 2 things: of you're emotional that your friend you kind of got backstabbed by some people that you thought you were aligned with, in Alyssa and Andy voting against Nicole, and then you also have the mental baggage on yourself that this is it's pretty much your fault, in terms of that you could have just kept the nominations the same. Now he's started to pick up on the tricks that were played against him, so at least he's quite aware of what's happening at least, but it was certainly emotional. But was Daniel wrong, though, what he was saying? Because I don't think he was wrong in the things that he was talking about, at least.
No, I don't think he was wrong at all, because as I'm sure we can all figure out, Monty is a threat. He's a threat to win the game. He's a threat to win the show. Knowing this obviously was before Michael won the HOH competition, but we saw this kind of linger in the back of Michael's head during his deliberations on who to put up. And Monty is a strong player. I'm not going to say strong to win competitions, because the only competition he's won so far is something a bartender could do if they know how to just throw a beer down a dang table. I mean, excuse me, it's not that. Excuse me.
You getting choked up about that comp?
Yeah,
that comp?
Yeah, they really am. So it's not that hard. But I want to see a wall comp, which spoiler alert, that's probably what we're going to see on Thursday, is the wall comp. It's probably going to be an endurance comp, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. But I want to see how they handle a real endurance competition, those guys, Joseph, Monty, those people. And I'm curious to see how they perform, because we really haven't seen them really go out there and really show that they can win. The only one that has is Michael. five wins, because spoiler alert, he did win the veto this weekend. So he has all the power right now. And we're going to touch on that as we end the episode here. But getting back to this episode, you have the HOH competition, which is balance beam. Well, I can tell you right now, I would have done a Turner and fall flat on my face if I would have tried to balance on that thing.
Turner took it like a champ. I was thinking through. It's like, why do you just try to run on the beam? I know it's better. It's easier said than done with all these competitions. Like, why don't you just do this? Like, why don't you just kind of try to do long strides and go, like, kind of pretty much run on the beam? And Turner showed me why I shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I would have done the Alyssa route and just take the longest beam possible. And
that was such the worst strategy. I don't know why you thought that. You see that Michael has a time of like 11 seconds, and you're like, let me go around the long way, because that sounds like I can beat this in 11 seconds.
Also, let me just say, the editing for this competition was weird, because you had Daniel go up first. I think he got like 16 seconds or something like that. And then Michael comes next with 11. Obviously, Michael won, so nobody else was going to, do well. And anyone who does not watch the feeds, and you're just a casual watching the show, you would not have known that Michael won. But for us sitting there who watched the feeds, knew what happened already going on, we knew Michael won. So we're sitting there waiting like, all right, everybody's got to go now. And then the worst one of all was Jasmine. I mean, my God, she just stood there.
I have it in my notes. Why is Jasmine even trying? I have that in my notes from this episode, because it's like, why do you even bother going out on the beam? I get that you probably have to do it and you can't really back out, but why? First off, she got lucky with her HOH. Let's be honest. She got very lucky.
Competition.
Let's be like, she got lucky to qualify for that HOH competition in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So, but she's just not. She's not been trying anything. She is legitimately the picture that you see in the dictionary for floater, at least in the recent memory. She is floating her way through the game. Now, if Turner wins HOH at some point, I think he's gonna try to get her out. Oh wait, no, he can't. Never mind.
No, I think that if Festy Bestie is over, like, we're thinking it's going to be Thursday, because after this next eviction, it is going to more than likely be jury. And usually at that point, that's when the twist ends and they go individual again. And if Turner is HOH, I guarantee he's putting her butt up there. I mean, I would in a heartbeat. There was we're going to get to Muffin Gate in a minute, but let's just touch on Jasmine real fast. Yes, she took one step, and I love the cricket sound effects over that. Like, okay, we're taking forever here.
Production's having fun with it.
Oh, yeah. She had the scooter sound effects. We had the cricket sound effects. She's taking her sweet time to do anything. For those who don't know, and you don't even know the half of the story, let me just paint a picture for you. This happened today, this afternoon, Ty. I don't know if you caught this. Hopefully you're right over there.
I'm also choking about this too.
Yes.
I'm having my own struggles.
We're having our struggles tonight. We talk about Jasmine, and so you got Jasmine, who you might have to not drink water for a second as I tell you this. You might choke laughing at this.
Okay.
Jasmine was outside in her swimsuit, sunbathing or just whatever she was doing, lounging on the thing. She told Alyssa, "Can you go inside and give me a glass of water and my lotion or whatever?" So yeah, Alyssa goes inside, gets her water and the lotion. Alyssa brings her the water, and Jasmine tells Alyssa, can you go back and bring me a water that's room temperature?
Oh no! Oh my God! You're not. No, Jasmine,
Yeah.
you're not pulling this off. Oh.
Yeah, and then let's not even get into. You know what? Screw it. Let's get into Muffin Gate right now. We're talking about Jasmine. Let's just get into Muffin Gate. We wasted 5 minutes on Muffin Gate, and Turner ate her muffin. And do you notice the only time Jasmine gets airtime if it's about food? Do you notice this? I noticed the last two times.
I think that's just an unfortunate coincidence. I don't think that's exactly her fault. I think that's just an unfortunate coincidence.
Is it though? Because look,
I think so.
Because look, we had the HOH, the veto competition, the one where Nicole was trying to sabotage so Taylor would go home, where they had to go up in the air. And Jasmine fainted. She passed out. And okay, My girlfriend is a nurse, okay? She has seen people pass out. And she goes, that girl did not pass out. So yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, I've seen people pass out in I've seen actors in movies pass out more convincing than that, okay? Like, why don't you just say, due to my laziness, I didn't want to compete in this competition because it involves pulling and running and things that she doesn't want to do. So Jasmine, in my opinion, you're right, floater, but she wins the award for laziest housemate ever, worse probably than Derek F last year.
Like at least like Christmas when she broke her leg, she still won a competition. Now that might have been everyone throwing it, but at least she competed in it. But it's like, like Jasmine, what are you like? At what point do we get her out of the boot? What point? Yeah. I don't think she gets out of the boot for 2 weeks. I'm calling it.
I'm calling it. I don't think she gets out of the boot until jury house. So she goes to the jury house. That's what I think.
So if you do have a wall comp this week going into Thursday, does she even participate? Does she even try? Or is she just going to say, nah, I'm going to sit this one out?
Yeah, I think she's going to sit that one out because you know what they're going to do. They're going to throw crap on you. They're going to get you wet. They're going to make it difficult for you. They're going to put you all kind of crap all over you, get you dirty, right? I'm going to go through all that. The only competition she won was an eating competition where you had to eat some kind of pie. Okay, that's one. She gets upset over Muffin Gate because someone ate her muffin, and she went to the producers to ask them, "Can you show me videotape of someone eating my muffin?" No. That sounded really wrong. That's not what I meant. But you know what I meant. So, yeah, I'm just saying. What did you think of Muffin Gate?
I think she's kind of playing into it though. It seems like at least with the diary room, like I know that on the feeds that we've seen her like be really serious about it. But it seems like she's kind of playing into it. She's having some fun with it. I don't think she's going to take it too seriously anymore, but she's certainly playing into it.
Yeah, I mean, on the feeds, I don't know if you saw it on live on the feeds or not, but I did, and I'm thinking she really went to the diary room and asked producers to show her video of the muffin. We didn't know this then, but we know it now. And production's like, yeah, we can't do that. We're not doing that. And the funniest part, I don't know, they didn't show this on the show, but on the feeds, Taylor and Turner were talking in the bathroom because that's all great conversations happen in the Big Brother house, apparently. And Turner was like, we got to get her out of here because I'm telling you, if I make Final Two and I'm a jury member and she finds out I ate her muffin, I'm not getting her vote. And I'm thinking, yeah. I mean,
he said in the diary room, if this is a $750,000 muffin, so be it.
What did you think? What did you think of that whole fiasco?
I love it. I think it's fun. I think it's a lot more joking around and messing around, I think, more than it being serious. Now, I do think Turner has some malicious intent with this because he is fed up with his festy bestie. You saw it whenever Kyle hit her ankle on the show clip where he's pulling a Jim Halpert. He's looking at the camera and he's just making faces, sipping on his water. He's fed up with Jasmine, and then to go eat the muffin in the diary room. Yeah, he's one, I think, trying to give himself some fun, and two, he's just fed up with Jasmine.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, at this point, I think even us viewers are fed up with Jasmine at this point. And it was funny in the diary room in Michael's HOH room last night on the feeds. You had Turner, Brittany, and Michael talking, and they were talking about hopefully the Festy Bestie twist is over this week and all that because he wants to get, as you said, we both said we wants to get Jasmine out of there. And the funny thing is, he mentioned to Brittany, he's like, maybe America likes Jasmine. He said, maybe we're wrong. All of us are wrong. Maybe America loves her. And then Brittany goes, he's like, well, if America loves her, that's really good editing on CBS's part.
Who was it? I think someone said it was they were dead on when they were saying that Taylor's probably America's favorite. I think it was sometime last week. I forgot who it was, but like as much as I do like the twist of the Festy Bestie in terms of how the game is played now, I'm ready for it to finish up. It's like we almost saw the Festy Bestie twist like play a part in this week where Kyle was this close to beating Michael, And we now know game one is that Kyle says that he doesn't know who he's going to commit to long term because he has Alyssa, who's the showman, so we all know how that goes. Or he can go with the leftovers. And if he won this week, that was going to flip the leftovers on their head because that meant Daniel was safe if Kyle won.
Mhm. Yep, and I don't think people realize that. We were that close to this week being completely different. And like I said, there's going to be spoilers as we're talking, guys. So if you do not want spoilers, we will say spoiler before we say what we're going to say because, we don't. Some of the show watchers don't want those. So just be warned.
Everyone should be aware. Everyone should be aware.
Yeah, if you're watching a podcast about Big Brother, be aware, and there's feeds and everything. Be aware, there's spoilers. So we're gonna get to everything that happened. But before we get to the HOH competition and Michael winning it, we gotta go back to that fight real quick with Monty and Daniel. And we gotta talk about Taylor eating those Lays on the steps, man.
And then her eating the Lays in the diary room. This episode gave me some of the diary rooms I've been waiting for. You get her eating the Lays in the diary room. You get Jasmine freaking out in the diary room. Then you get Turner complaining about Jasmine and then eating the muffin in the diary room. I love it. This is what I've been waiting for. Yeah. And then you get Michael giving some good insight on where his game's at. Again, this is... I look back to BB12, where it started, where you had Brittany's diary rooms. I need more of those. And I think Taylor's giving that to us so far.
Yes. One thing I will say... Go ahead. No, go for it.
Oh no, I was going to say her eating the Lays on the stairs and then in the diary room and just enjoying herself. I love it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And the one thing about production told her, "Hey, America loved the Lays thing, so get some Lays." And
bring the Lays in.
And the thing is, I'm not doing Apple brand. I know you hate Apple, but I'm sorry. She had the Lay's label like right there. And I'm thinking that's free advertising for Lay's. By the way, I understand Lay's potato chips are bomb. I love Lay's potato chips. I'm a huge fan of those. So I understand. I understand her love for those. But let's get real quickly into this HOH comp. Let me see. Michael wins, as we said. It is now his fourth competition win as of Sunday. So 5th overall, because again, spoiler, he won the veto. So we find out that, the plan is to put up Monty, Terrence, and Joseph as pawns with the intention of backdooring Daniel. Now, that's what he tells them to their face. But he's really thinking, is this a time for me to turn on the leftovers and get rid of Monty, who's a big threat? Now, how much of Daniel's argument played on Michael's thoughts there, you think?
Well, with his diary, because we saw that on the feeds that him and Daniel was pushing really hard, saying that he has his vote for final 2 if he gets there, that he'll do the dirty work, and it's pretty much in desperation mode for Daniel. But Michael said it straight up in the diary room that he doesn't really trust Daniel. So I think he took everything with a grain of salt that Daniel was saying. I think he's going to go with the plan. It's just too early to turn on your alliance, especially an alliance that has pretty much control of the house at this moment. Until you know that it's jury, because I think jury gets another paycheck along with it, but you want to make sure that you get yourself through all of this, get into jury before turning on your alliance, because at some point it is going to get down to that alliance, and yeah, you want to take out one of the best players that could be a physical threat in Monty, but is that worth turning the people against you, such as Joseph, such as Terrence, such as, I don't know, maybe Kyle's in there, but I don't know who else, at least, and I wouldn't know if I don't know who is on Monty's side. Then Michael certainly doesn't know. So why would you take that? Why would you take that risk? I understand that Big Brother is a game where you need to take risk at times to make it the big splashes, but right now just play it safe.
Yeah, just play it safe. And the thing is with that is you have Monty and Joseph who are completely loyal to this alliance. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Terrence, who is, well, we're going to touch on Terrence in just a second here. But you have 2 of the 3 people are very strong guys and who could potentially be winning competitions down the road. We don't know yet. But Michael talks to Daniel, as you said. He tells him, he pitches him, "Hey, I got nobody. I'm by myself. And, I can do your dirty work for you, so to speak." And then what they edited out of the show, and we mentioned at the top, was Kyle's pitch to him about I want to work with you, Brittany, all that. And Michael was considering it. That was not shown on the show, but Michael was considering his offer. And until yesterday, after the veto competition, when Jasmine, Terrence, both came up back to back and said, "We got to get Monty out of here. We got to get Monty out, blah, blah, blah." But Terrence was supposed to be working, with the leftovers, kind of like as a side thing. And that made Michael think, wait a minute, aren't you supposed to be working with us? Like, why are you pitching for Monty to go? Why is Jasmine pitching for Monty to go if Monty, wants to keep her safe? Why is Alyssa pitching for Monty to go? It only made sense. Brittany clocked it right away. They put it together, says they think we're stupid. All four of them are working together, Terrence included. And that made him think, if we go over there and the leftovers are pissed off with us, and let's say Monty or Joseph, whichever one of them go, whichever one of them stay, win HOH, guess who they're going to put up? Brittany and Michael. And it keeps that side safe. They figured it out. So the thing is, though, you're right. It is too soon to turn. And I don't know if Michael is going to make the leftovers final 7. I don't know if the leftovers make it to final 7 like we saw with the cookout. Because with the cookout, you had Tiffany, Kylan, they were all loyal to each other. As much as Derek F. and Tiffany hated each other, they were loyal to each other to those 6. I don't know if this leftovers makes it to 7 because of one thing, which is what we're going to touch on next. The amazing showmance that we got to watch tonight. And you can tell my sarcasm in that.
Fortunately, it was not that long, but yeah, I'm not down for this.
Yeah, luckily you were not awake to watch this. I don't know if you were, maybe you were, I don't know. Late night, whenever Michael got his HOH room, and we're like, where the hell is Kyle? On the feeds, you got Kyle and Alyssa in the storage room making out like dry hump made near the freaking lettuce. And I'm like, this is the lettuce for the house. Like, can you all like do it on like a bare part of the thing? I mean, you're near the food. Like, you gotta decontaminate that food. But then you hear Kyle, as you said, he doesn't know who he's going to be loyal to. So, what do you think? What do you predict? Do you predict Kyle's going to be loyal to the leftovers, or do you think he's going to be so Mr. Horny Teenager and go over to the to Alyssa?
Kyle is a split personality at this point. He is smart in his game. We've seen this before, that he knows what the right thing to do is for his game, but he's also admitted himself that he is too horny for this. That he is distracted by Alyssa. He's aware of it. Now, is he going to stop himself? I don't think so. And we've seen showmances where that's going to you have those two. Now you could probably have some people take advantage of that wherever Kyle is voting, Alyssa's going to vote, and vice versa. That you can easily have 2 votes right there. But when the leftovers break, I think it's going to be Kyle. I think that's going to be the first victim, and you might just move your alliance down to 6. But I think that's the first one out if the alliance sticks together for the next few weeks.
Would you? Let's hypothetically say that, and spoiler, guys, again, spoiler, you have Michael as the HOH holder right now. He more than likely is going to use the veto to take down the 3 guys, unless something drastically changes overnight, which I will keep you guys updated on that if it does. Unless something changes, he's going to use the veto to take off the 3 guys and put up Daniel and Kyle. If you are the leftovers and you can tell this Alyssa Kyle thing is going to be an issue, do you get rid of Kyle this week?
That's a good proposition, and I think it depends on where the leftovers think what Kyle is. You never know. Maybe at least for Michael, it's in the back of his head what Kyle said to get himself trending and all that. That's probably in the back of his head where he wants. ignore the other parts, but look at the game part of he's looking elsewhere for alliances. He is looking to get away from the leftovers. Do you bring that information to the rest of the leftovers and just kind of try to convince them to, instead of kicking out the weak link of this house right now, that's Daniel, why don't you take out one of your allies that might turn on you? It is a smart move if you decide that you have the balls to pull that off.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing is like here's the problem. Not really a problem, but I mean Michael knows this. Michael knows that Kyle would be a vote to send Monty home, and the reason he knows it is because Alyssa spilled the beans last night in a conversation with him. So he knows that Kyle would vote out Monty if given the chance, which again, Monty's a member of the leftovers. He also knows. Well, I'm sorry. Brittany also knows. Excuse me. Brittany knows as well, but they have not told Monty, Joseph, Taylor, any of that group. And when Michael was talking to the cameras last night, he says, "I can tell them this will break up this group because they're going to want to go after Kyle next." And he thinks the best thing moving forward is to keep the leftovers together for the next couple of weeks. And I agree with that in a sense, but at the same time, I feel like Kyle's going to go over there anyway, and that once Daniel does go home, or even if Kyle goes home, that they're still going to have a number over there because Terrence is completely on that side now because Terrence pinched Monty. He's been pinching Monty to go. He calls Daniel his boy. Literally today, he's thinking, I'm going to make a power move. I convinced Michael to use them to keep nominations the same. And in Terrence's mind, he is the mastermind behind keeping nominations the same. And I don't know. What do you think of Terrence? Do you think Terrence is just trying to get by? Do you think he genuinely is working with them? What do you think?
I think he's kind of been on the outside for everything, honestly. He's been a floater himself, but not like, I don't think intentionally. It's just kind of the way cards have been played for him. But I think he's going to work he's on the outside of this leftovers for sure. And he might go with the house. He just might float on in that aspect, but he's aware of who the big target should be, and that it is Monty. Monty, who is one head of household. Now, I think Michael is the bigger target. He's playing the better game at the moment in terms of competition wins, but I think Terrence is aware of who the big dogs are, where Joseph and Monty are pretty much running or directing this game at this moment. Now, I'm not sure they're running it, but they're certainly directing it how things go. Like, even in tonight's show that we saw them, they mentioned, like, hey, we should probably redirect this elsewhere to make it not seem like we are directing this. Because they're aware that they are kind of in control at the moment. But I think Terrence is aware of how the game's going, but I'm not sure which side he's playing, but I think it's most likely outside the leftovers.
Yeah, so let's run this down. On the leftover side, you have Monty, Taylor, Joseph, Brittany, Michael, Turner, and a question mark with Kyle. I'll put Kyle as a question mark. On the other side, you have Alyssa, Jasmine, Terrence, Daniel, and maybe Kyle, right? So that would make it what, 5-5? Or 6-5?
6-5.
So either way, the leftovers would be good because the other side, you got a cripple. They can't win nothing because she's too lazy. You got okay. Cripple was rude. Excuse me, not cripple. You have someone who's a little
injured,
mobily challenged. Okay, she's challenged to be mobile. Okay, So you got someone there. You have Terrence who can't win nothing to save his life at this point. You have Daniel, who could be going home this week. You have Kyle, who could be going home this week, even though I put Kyle as a question mark more in the middle right now. You have Alyssa, who is kind of struggling. You don't really have anyone on that side that can win anything.
Yeah.
But with a wall comp, if it is a wall comp, I could easily see Alyssa winning that.
Yeah, it's with more petite girls are going to win that competition because they don't have as much mass that they have to hold on to. And we've seen it happen before. But, like, if I'm looking at that side of the house, it's really only Alyssa I'm scared of, and maybe Indy. Now that's also assuming Daniel's out this week. and not assuming Kyle's not on that side yet. But like Alyssa would be the one I'm scared of, and maybe next week if you got the chance, take a shot at the showmance. Now I think production would hate that, but I think America would love it.
I mean, I know I would. I don't want to hear every 5 minutes of the damn feeds. No, thank you. All right, so that is our showman's talk for the night. So now we get to Michael's nominations, and as I said, he nominated Michael. He nominated Michael. No, he didn't nominate himself. He nominated Monty, Joseph, and Terrence. Standard nominations for what he said he was going to do, but it's when he said in the diary room that really caught me. He says, I nominated these two, and I need to do what's best for my game. And at that point, as we mentioned, he is considering getting rid of Monty. And it's just a matter of, is it the right move at this time? And as we said, we don't think it is. But if the leftovers do get to 7, we've seen already Joseph and Taylor are very close. Actually, Taylor admitted last night on the feed she has a crush on Joseph. So good for her. You have Taylor, Brittany, and Michael made a final 3. So that is, and Michael has said that is his ideal final 3 to go to the end with. But I do think Monty and Joseph Monty, Joseph, and Turner, those 3 would probably run this game to the end if those get to 7. Unless Taylor can start to prove she could win something, and she's gotten close a few times. I mean, it's not for a lack of trying like Jasmine. I mean, she's gotten close a few times. So we'll see what happens. But his nominations were set. They did, as I said, those were what he did. But what do you think of his nominations? Do you think that was the right call? Do you think he should have gone for Turner and Jasmine?
I think it's certainly what the leftovers plan is at this moment of you playing the backdoor Daniel, and I think that's what's going to happen. Now, is it a bad idea to start thinking of who you need to start targeting within your own alliance at some point? I don't think that's a bad idea. Monty is obviously the number 1 target across the board for a lot of other people outside of Daniel. So if I'm Michael, I'm planning to keep, like I said, keep this alliance intact just for a few more weeks and let Monty be everyone's target that they go after. You are certainly one of the stronger players. Speaking as for Michael, you're one of the strongest players right now in this house in terms that you've been winning nonstop. You are about to tie them for the most competition wins already. So before jury even happens, you certainly have a target that some people are going to be looking at. But everyone is keeping their eyes on Monty now. Monty just won the HOH last week. He's certainly a competition threat. And he's also been helping Joseph direct his game. Everyone knows what's happening with Monty. Why not keep that target in the house and let him kind of be your human shield at some point? Because I think that's a good way to go. But at this point, you got to play it safe. Play it safe. If Daniel or Kyle won one POV this week, then go after Monty. But since that's not going to be the case, you just got to go with the plan that your alliance has created.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I mean, right now it's just a matter of what's going to happen moving forward. So we're going to get to some spoilers here, guys. So spoiler, as I said, Michael won the veto. He is planning as of this moment at 9:30 p.m. Central Time to use it to take off Monty, Joseph, and Terrence and replace them with Daniel and Kyle. And as of right now, Daniel thinks the nominations are staying the same. He has no idea that he's going to go up and more than likely go home. He has no idea this is happening. So let's go back to the beginning of the episode where he was upset at Monty, right? For lying to him and blah, blah. At what point does Daniel blame himself? Because, last week with Amira, this past week, or 2 weeks ago with Amira now, last week with Nicole going home, and now this week with himself going home more than likely, he doesn't see it. At what point does he stop thinking, I'm such this great game player, and realize you may not be that good?
I think it's going to hit him once he's put back on the block and going after this, most likely after this POV nomination. Yeah. So I think at some point I think he's going to realize, yeah, I'm just not good. I'm just not good at this game. I've been too high on myself. I was told exactly what I could do to keep myself safe and Nicole safe, and I ignored it. I called the bluff to not prevail. So I think once he's sitting up on the block, he's gonna realize, yeah, I've messed up.
Yeah, he has, and we're going to see what happens on Wednesday's episode. Now, we're not going to be around to recap Wednesday's episode. We will be back on Thursday, though, to recap the eviction and Wednesday's episode. Probably just end up recapping the veto, and if they show the veto meeting on Wednesday's episode, we'll recap that as well. But before we get out of here, Ty, we have to talk about this is our first Big Brother podcast, 34 days into this game. We probably should have done this from the beginning, but logistics.
Better late than never.
Yeah, we got this podcast going. We're here, and before we end this, we're going to say Fwrd Access News is the place to get fair and balanced coverage on politics, sports, TV, whatever your fancy is. You can find it on Fwrd Access News, fair and balanced. I actually got a good compliment. I was on another podcast, Ty, for covering America's Got Talent. We did the America's Got Talent draft to kind of pick our team for who we think is going to win. I'm hoping my team wins, man. I'm gonna be so sad if I don't. But and I got a compliment from one of the guys on there. He's like, I have read some of your political articles, and to find out which way you lean politically. And after reading about 4 or 5 articles, I can't tell. And I'm thinking that's exactly why David and I created Fwrd Access, because of that reason. We see so much biases. So if you watch Fox News or Newsmax, we know which way you lean. You lean more to the right. If you watch MSNBC, you lean to the left. I mean, we see so much bias in news coverage. We always want to get the facts to you straight. If President Biden's doing a bad job, we're going to say it. If he's doing a good job, we're going to say it. If the other side is doing good about, we're going to say whatever's going on. And that's politics. But I mean, we cover more than politics. So TV reviews, whatever. Like even with Big Brother, like right now, we talked about Kyle, what was going on. We give our opinions, but we gave both sides of the argument how it looks, but also he may not be thinking that way either. So you're going to get fair, balanced coverage on Fwrd Access every single time you go there. Even with this podcast, we're going to make a dedication to give you fair and balanced coverage of everything we talk about. But speaking of which, let's end our show here with one more topic. So this game has been going on for 34, 35 days, whatever it is right now. I believe it's 33. It could be wrong. My math could be off. It's something like that, about a month. We have had one person walk out or get thrown out in Paloma. And before we get on that, since it's our first podcast, what did you make of that whole Paloma situation? It was not in our notes, guys. It was not in our notes. So I'm throwing this out as a curveball. What did you think of that situation?
See, I was not paying attention to the feeds as much at that point because it was like too early in the game for me. Like I'm not dedicated yet. Then the next week I got dedicated, so I didn't keep too track of it. Big Brother certainly plays. It's a very psychologically breaking game, and I think we saw this with Kyle where he was just kind of all over the place in the HOH room just to the cameras. So this game is not for everyone. It's going to emotionally break you. It's going to psychologically break you, and sometimes that's just not best for you to be inside a house with no communication with the outside world, and sometimes days without going outside either. So I can understand if someone breaks and they kind of just have to choose self-evict. From what we've been told and everything, that it's a self-evict just for mental health reasons. So I understand why that happened, and the signs were obviously there that she was not having a good time.
Yeah, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here because that's what I do. So I'm just gonna go out here and say this: if Paloma really truly has mental health problems, I hope she gets the help that she needs, because mental health is just as important as your physical health. I will say that every single time, no matter who it is very important that you get help. However, on the flip side of that, there have been instances, not in American Big Brother, but in overseas Big Brother, where people have lied. Oh, I have mental problems. I'm mentally, I can't handle this. And they just want to go home. Or they're lying to cover up for who they really are. And I'm not saying that's what Paloma did. What I am saying is she was on the feed saying, I'm going to win this game. The check is mine. $750 is mine. Big Brother should just sign me the check right now. I'm going to take it home. She had every intention of getting Taylor out of the house. And she looked perfectly fine to me. And then she goes in the diary room, comes out, and starts acting sad and depressed and, saying the things that we saw her say on the show. And it made me wonder, did production tell her, hey, you're looking pretty bad here, bullying this girl who is from Michigan. She's African American. She's Miss, I think she's Miss Michigan or whatever she is. It doesn't look good. All of you are ostracizing this poor girl. And she realizes, I'm not saying this is a race thing. I'm just saying it doesn't look good to bully anybody on a national TV. Maybe she found that out. And to save face, she was like, you know what? I need to leave for my mental health. Maybe that is the reason. Or maybe her finding out did have an impact on her mental health and she had to leave. That is very possible too. But she posted the video to TikTok. If you don't have TikTok, Ty, I highly suggest you get it.
I've been holding off on it so long.
Dude, I'm sitting there like 3 or 4 in the morning, just scrolling, like just looking at some random ass videos. It's hilarious. But yeah, I recommend you get it. Just if anything, just to scroll for videos because it's really funny. But she posted a video to TikTok saying that Taylor is the one who attacked her. That Taylor would make fun of her, call her fat when Pullman's not even fat to begin with. All these things, and people pulled up the receipts on the feeds. They went to flashback. They pulled up. Are you talking about this moment, when nothing ever happened with Taylor? In one instance, Taylor wasn't even in the room. So, I mean, I don't know if she has any problems mentally. If she does, as I said before, I do hope she gets the help that she needs because it's important that she does. If that is an issue for her. But those are my thoughts on it. I'm not 100% sold on the she walked out because of that reason. We have to go with it because that is what production has said. I'm personally not sold on that. You might be, and that's totally fine. But those are just my thoughts. I hope that she is okay if she is really having some issues. But one other thing I need to touch on is we saw Terrence today calling out. I'm sorry, not Terrence. Nicole. When Nicole would, I don't know if you know when Nicole left. She would make fun of Taylor, saying her private parts were hanging out of her bikini. Saying she was being really aggressive. We saw it on the show actually, that she was being really aggressive. And we saw Taylor saying, "Can we pray a prayer for Nicole?" Thinking it was her mother. That's why she was going in the diary room. The edit made it look like Nicole was crying because she had to throw the competition, but that wasn't the reason why. Because in an interview with Entertainment Weekly after her eviction, Nicole was honest and said the reason why she was upset is because production told her that viewers are upset with her for bullying Taylor, and they used the word bully. And that is why she was upset, because she doesn't want to be seen as a bully, and she doesn't feel that she's a bully, and she's upset that things have been portrayed in that way. So that is why she was crying. And production and the show made it look like she was crying because she wanted to throw the competition. So that's what I'm saying. Just because what we see on the show it's not always how it goes. And I think as a fan of the show, you know that, and I know that.
Yeah, definitely.
So for fans out there thinking, oh, this is exactly how it happened. No. Like, they skipped the entire Kyle thing this weekend. I don't think they're going to show it at all. But we're here to tell you this is what really happened. Whether you agree with it or not, whether you're a fan of this person or not, this is how it happened. So we just want to make that clear.
Yeah.
But before we get out of here, Ty, I want to know, or wait, do you have any more thoughts on that? Or you just want to
No.
just move
We
on?
can move on.
Okay.
We can move on.
All right. But the last thing we want to talk about here is who's playing the best game. So I'm going to let you go first, because I think I might have the same person as you, or I might have 2 people as a tie. So who do you think is playing the best game?
I have 2 people as a tie. It's
Okay.
I think I already voiced my seal of approval for Michael in terms of competition wins and playing the game, thinking good strategy, but he might not necessarily have to go actually pull the trigger with some of the stuff like the Monty, but him and Joseph are playing the best games, honestly. It was Joseph has kind of been directing alongside with Monty in terms of how they're going to backdoor Amira, how backdoor Nicole, and now how they're going to backdoor Daniel. He's pretty much directed all 3 of these. He's been a number 1 advocate for Taylor and keeping her safe, and has pretty much been the reason that Taylor has stayed in this house in terms of just getting his alliance members to buy into what he was doing, but had Taylor buy into what she need to do for get Nicole out, and he's playing the great social game that I think everyone. I have not heard any bad things about him compared to from the rest of the house guests. So between him and his social game with Michael's physical and competition game, I think these two have the lead, and these 2 are like my 2 that I'm kind of going for, and also betting on to at least one of those 2 be in the final 2.
Okay. All right. So Michael is also one of my top players, just based on competition wins, number 1, but also his social game is pretty good right now. I have actually 2 more people. Joseph is the second one for all the reasons you mentioned. You know, I have seen, as I said, every single season of Big Brother, apart from season 15 and 17. Those are the two I have not seen. But from the ones I have seen, Joseph is probably one of the best liars since Dan.
Oh, big
and
time.
and Dan was the best liar of Big Brother history. He could tell you right to your face he wasn't putting you up, look you right in the eye and put you up. So he was that good of a liar. But Joseph just has a way of like making you feel comfortable, making you believing him, and then boom, he turns around and goes with Monty and says, "Hey, we got a plot to get so and so out," and they boom pull the trigger. That's what makes Monty so good. Now, competition-wise, he hasn't won anything yet. Again, we'll see what happens down the road. The other one I'm going to say is actually Turner. And the reason why I think Turner is because he's won an HOH and made a big move in getting rid of Amira. So that's one for his quote-unquote Big Brother resume. But the other one, actually, his social game is really strong. If you look at it right now, he's in a good relationship with Taylor. He's in a good relationship with the guys. He's in a good relationship with Kyle. I mean, given Kyle's flimsy right now, but he's still in a good relationship with him. He's in a good relationship with the majority of his alliance and even the other side. If you look at the other side of the house, whenever they talk about putting people up, they're not talking about Turner. They're talking about Monty, Joseph, Taylor, Michael. They're not even looking at Turner. So that aspect of his social game is very strong to where even Indy likes him, Jasmine likes him, or maybe not anymore, but it's the Muffin. Indy, Alyssa, they all like him. So I think he's playing a very, very strong game. And the only one that really wants him out is Jasmine because he ate her muffin. And I'm like,
a non-game reason.
A non-game reason. I'm thinking if God forbid God forbid she wins HOH and he eats her Doritos from her HOH basket, because that's her favorite snack, by the way. She loves Doritos. And I'm over here like, man, if you eat her Doritos from the HOH basket, you're gone. Like, you would have to self-evict at this point. But no, those three, in my opinion, are playing the best games right now. And as much as I would love to see Taylor get to the end, especially after what happened to her at the beginning of the show, how badly she was treated, I don't necessarily say that is a reason she should win because she was treated badly. At the end of the day, I want to see someone win who played the best game. That's what I want to see, not win on sympathy like all these other reality shows. Whoever played the best game should win. And we don't always see that because we know the jury is more than likely going to be bitter because, hey, this person lied to you for however long. Case in point, the challenge right now, you have Alyssa. I don't know if you watch the challenge, but if you do, you have Alyssa wanting to backstab Xavier because he lied to her on his season of Big Brother, and she did actually get revenge and got him out of the game. So I mean,
Damn.
yeah. So I mean, you have all these things, and again, if you want to watch the challenge, I highly recommend it to you, dude. Best show, much better than Big Brother. Highly recommend you give it a shot. I think you would love it.
I need to catch up. You got me hooked on the circle, and now I need to go to the challenge. I know that's next on the list.
Yeah, Paramount Plus, easy. Just binge. You're good to go. So I highly recommend it, especially you have people that you know on there. So you have Big Brother people you know on there. If you watch Survivor, you got Survivor people you know on there, Amazing Race people you know on there. So it's a good show. But yeah, so those are our thoughts on this episode of Big Brother, this week of Big Brother. But we will be here on Sundays and Thursdays to recap the episode and recap what else you didn't see during the week. So it's an hour show. They're not going to fit everything going on. They're going to edit some stuff out. We did see, though, I will say, I did tweet you, or I messaged you on Twitter. They did edit out a lot from that veto meeting on last Wednesday, but they put it in Thursday's episode. So maybe we'll see something that happened over the week in Thursday's episode. I don't know. It depends how this week goes. But any final thoughts before we sign off?
I like Michael. I think, again, Michael, I'm going to have the Michael bias. I'm just going to put that straight up there. I'm cheering for Michael, and I'm going to cheer for anything that's going to help his game out. So my biases that are out there, I know that we like to be unbiased here, but I'm just putting that out there. I'm being transparent with this. So, but so far, I'm actually enjoying the season. This pre-jury has been really fun in terms of you're having a lot of backstabbing, you're having a lot of backdooring, having a lot of good lying, and I think this is setting up for a really good backstretch of this season because I think it's going to be because you do have a lot of good game players out there.
Yeah, you do, and I have to agree. You know, we're setting up. This is probably going to be. Last year was one of my favorite seasons in a long time, considering we had runs of people just who I don't think should have won because they didn't play a good game, and the jury was bitter with the other person that did play the good game. But this last year, Xavier played the best game, and I'm happy he won. This time, I think we're getting down to a very good core of people. Once you get rid of like the people that I think shouldn't probably make it any further, like Terrence, Jasmine, like those types, and you're gonna set yourself up for some really good gameplay as we get into the back half of this season. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see how it goes. I'm excited. You and I are gonna be here every Sunday and Thursday to talk about it and kind of give our thoughts on what's going on. And I'm very excited to be here for the finale too, to see how things are going to go there. And I'm really going to try to hook you into, by the end of this podcast, the end of this Big Brother season, I'm going to try to hook you into Big Brother Canada or Big Brother Australia to see what you think of that. One day, yeah, it's going to happen. I'm going to make it happen. All right. So that will do it for us here at Fwrd Access Live. Ty, thank you so much for joining me today. I definitely appreciate that. You can follow Ty on Twitter at the Ty Jäger. Is that the same for all your platforms?
Same for all my platforms.
All right, you can follow Ty on there. We got to try to get Ty on TikTok at some point. Maybe that'll happen. You can follow me now. You can follow me on Twitter at least for entertainment purposes, at the Stephen A on Twitter and all of your social media platforms. But again, for Ty Jäger, I'm Stephen Michael. And thank you again for joining us here on Fwrd Access Live, where the news is always fair and balanced. Until next time, so long, everybody.
Thank you for joining Fwrd Axis Live. Hear this episode and more wherever you listen to your podcasts. Visit www.fwrdaxis.com to get the latest news happening in our world today. Follow us on Twitter at Fwrd Axis Live